Good morning, everyone. Welcome to TopstepTV, the London session. We have Coach Ray here with us. So
Hey,
we're just gonna check whether everybody can hear him. Hello, Ray. How are you?
hey, I'm good. I'm good.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we're gonna have a look at what's going on in the markets. Platinum and copper are going crazy right now.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Oh, we've got somebody speaking Serbian or Serbo-Croatian in the chat. Ronnie Christensen. Dobro jutro, kako si?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
that's
know you
always.
spoke Serbian.
Well, I grew up there. It would be a bit weird
Oh,
if I
yeah, you
didn't,
did. Yeah, you
born
did.
and raised.
It shouldn't be too much of a surprise then.
Yeah, I know that people are. Sometimes people don't believe me. They're like, "Oh, you don't speak the language," and I'm like, "What do you
Hmm.
mean?" It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
of course I speak the language. It's my mother
yeah.
tongue. But I suppose because I don't have much of an accent and I talk a lot in English. So yeah, Ray, welcome. So what do you reckon about this jump in platinum and copper? Are you watching this?
Yeah, no, I am. I kind of drew my kind of little line in the sand that I would love to see a little bit of a pullback to. A kind of prior level of support would be kind of a nice area to maybe potentially participate. So we had price kind of plow through this support area,
Yeah.
and now I'm kind of looking for price to pull back to this area and look for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little unexpected. Usually we don't get these sort of moves this early in the day.
Mhm.
So let's see if I've got any levels of interest. I mean, I can see we opened inside value, and
Yeah.
then we just kind of jumped all the way down straight to the average daily and, well, actually average session range for London. Average daily range is a bit lower. So we do
Hmm.
have space all the way down to 955,
Hmm.
which could be interesting. And that's kind of a similar area where I have some of the options levels too. And typically my ADR, ASR levels, they tend to line up with some of those levels too. So 950 remains my area of interest in platinum. Those of you who have been on the London session, you know that I've been watching 975. I actually did manage to get a pretty banging trade from there yesterday in one of the XFAs, so that was nice. Actually, in a couple of the XFAs. Yeah, so today, I mean, we might want to chase this. This is now a sustained auction. However,
Mm.
I'm with you, Ray. I would like to see some sort of a pullback first.
Yeah.
Especially because we're sitting at a GEX level here at 960, which could sometimes be supportive. Now, those GEX levels in options chains is basically an area where we can get a difference in gamma on the day. So if we had a very volatile day up until that point, if they don't really manage to break that, we could actually suddenly find ourselves in a nothing burger day. And
Right.
it just depends on how we react here. But there should be some sort of a reaction since it is one of the stronger GEX levels. And, if not, then we have an abnormal day on our hands. So
Right.
that's going to be interesting. Anything else you're watching?
That's it. I mean, was kind of in the middle of a gulp of my mushroom coffee when you asked the question. Yeah, I mean that
Sorry about
I was
that.
looking at that. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, I was looking at when I was kind of loading up my charts. I saw copper, okay, and then
Yeah.
loaded. You mentioned platinum, so I think those are the two in play right now. I think
Yeah,
looks like.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. So yeah, we're going to see if we can stalk a trade somewhere
Okay.
here. Savage Sad wants to know, Coach Ray, is it midnight over there?
Yeah, pretty much a little after
A
that, but
little
yes,
after.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very
See,
late.
notice it's dark outside.
Yeah. Coach Ray very kindly joins us here on most Thursdays, and it is very, very late, so he's pulling a
Hmm.
late night.
Yes,
And we're very, very thankful to have you here, Ray.
thank you.
All right. So, I mean, I'm looking at this crude oil as well. It's kind of in a value acceptance, but it's starting to range. So that might follow at some point, whatever is going on in platinum and copper. So I'm going to stalk that one too.
Okay. Gonna load that up.
I would like to see it up at 70 though. This is the thing. I've been looking at the 70 level all week, and we're sort of coming up to it and then shying away from it. Coming up to it, shying away from it. Not quite hitting it. So it's obviously like a major level where in and around there are quite a lot of sellers. And if we can get all the way up there, I would be interested in doing something with it. But
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
psychological number as well. So
Yeah,
I
big
see
psych
that.
number.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, let's focus on this platinum. I'm going to pull some levels into copper too. Now, copper is in rollover. I looked at the CME website. This is platinum futures, but let's go copper, just so I can show everyone what I'm looking at and why I'm a little skeptical over this. I mean, sometimes rollover can do this, right? They start to roll, and then a whole bunch of people need to switch contracts, so they obviously close out the one in December and they open another one. But it does look like we have started to roll volume into March, so skipping January and February. If we look at the volume column, you see that we have 10,500 contracts traded, but then we look at March, and it's already nearly 7,000. So yeah, it's a little bit tricky for me to get involved in copper. But platinum is not rolling. Platinum is still in January. So I think I like platinum still today for that reason. But anything could happen, right?
Right.
All right, so one thing that I want to mention for everyone is that next week there will be no broadcasts on Thursday because it's obviously Thanksgiving in the US, so we're going to be taking a break away from the charts, away from the markets, and just chilling out with the families. Obviously, it's not celebrated in the UK, but our viewership is heavily split between the US and the UK, so it doesn't really make that much sense to, run broadcasts when half of the people are not going to be here, right? And for me to go, hey, my US friends, why don't you glue yourself away from your families at ungodly hour and come hang with me?
Yes.
So yeah, Ray, do you have any plans for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, actually, normally we actually host Thanksgiving, but
Oh,
this time around, my my sister will be doing it over across the bay. I don't know if you are familiar with Pleasanton, but it's across the bridge there,
right.
and
I
she'll be
don't.
doing
Yeah,
hosting one of her first Thanksgivings, which I think
yeah,
she's a little bit nervous about.
yeah. I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever been there. I'm
Yeah, it's
just
in
trying
the
to
east.
think.
It's on the east side of the Bay Area there, so
Yeah, no,
not a very
I've not been
common
there.
destination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is she doing like the full sort of meal and everything? Like
Yeah,
she's doing all
yeah.
that?
So
Wow.
the whole turkey, the turkey stuffing, that's kind of like a staple, and then we add a little Spanish twist to that. We'll add most likely my aunt will make some sort of paella,
Nice.
mixed seafood kind of paella. So it's turkey with a Spanish twist.
Yeah, and you speak Spanish, that's
I
right.
do, I do.
Are
Yeah,
you Spanish? Like, are you like what?
yeah, yeah. So I'm first
Yeah,
generation here, American, right?
right,
And then my mom insisted that we speak Spanish in the home.
right.
So that's how I learned my Spanish. And yeah,
That's
initially
amazing.
wasn't too keen on it, but over time, I guess I grew to like it.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm actually having a conversation with Topstep about maybe hosting a channel along those lines.
I,
So
I think that would make sense.
yeah,
There's a lot of Spanish speakers, so
yeah,
that would definitely make sense.
yeah.
Yeah, in my family, one of the reasons why I speak English so good is because we were always multilingual.
Hmm.
Since my dad was a bit of a nomad as a musician, he sort of lived everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And he spoke a lot of languages. Like he could speak like probably 7 languages. So in our house, we were required to at least speak English. However, I'm actually a little bit lazy, so I speak Serbian and English and a little bit of Italian, right? not that great.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I think when I was younger, I could probably speak more. However, most of my family can speak German, Italian, English, and Serbian.
Wow.
So at least four languages. It's like
That's
absolutely
impressive.
crazy. Yeah, and then my
Yeah,
mom also.
my
Yeah.
dad's side is French, and there was a time in my life where I spoke French too, when my
Oh,
grandmother was here. But when she went back, French was kind of the language that lost out. So
yeah. That's kind of what I think what happened with us and Greek, because we
yeah.
are part. We have Greek heritage too. I seem to have lost your screen for some reason. So let me
Oh,
just
okay.
try and pull
Yeah,
that.
I've been doing some things on my end, so I'm trying to get my database to recognize. So I may need to join back in and see if I can get my screen back.
Yeah, let's do that because for some
Okay.
reason I've lost it.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me go ahead and do that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a bit temperamental.
Yes.
All right, let's see who we've got in the chat. Lots of dumping across the markets. WW3 jitters. Oh God, I hope not. You know, I always joke about the semi-apocalypse and all that, but but I mean, it's you know, if we are genuinely at risk there, I mean, didn't they say they're not going to be doing that? So it's a bit strange. Okay, so I'm gonna disconnect that. So for some reason, I now have two of you. So let's let's
Oh,
let's do that again. So I've just
okay.
killed the
All
link.
right.
Apologies, guys. It's like tech live. Yeah, we're live.
Live
So
tech issues
tech
that,
issues. It
yeah.
happens. So let's try to do
All
that
right.
again.
Yeah, my bad.
So yeah, we're gonna see on financial juice whether there's anything. Yeah, so this is the thing. Ukraine, here we go. Headline risk: Russia fired an intercontinental ballistic missile
Oh,
as
really?
part of the overnight attack. This is what's causing that.
Mm,
Yeah. So that's not great news.
no.
I mean, you know, the opportunities are there, but
Right.
unfortunately, you know, the news is not great. Okay, I've got your screen back. That's great
Okay,
news.
great.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
will not close and come back.
Yeah, because it messes up the video
Yeah,
and then it just
yeah.
loses
I
the
was trying to get
connection.
my database to recognize trading view, but it's not doing that at the moment.
Yeah, okay. We'll work with what we've got. It's okay. So
Yeah.
we now know the reason why. I don't know whether it's WW3 worthy, you know, because it's still just Russia and Ukraine, and even though Russia is a massive
Yeah.
country with a lot of power, I mean, I hope that they're not going to be starting things, although you
Mm,
never know. Humans are
yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
All right, let's glue ourselves away from very small time frames to get a better view. If this is truly risk off today, then, you know, I would expect crude oil to shoot up. Gold is
Mm,
totally unresponsive here, so that makes me doubt the whole risk off sentiment. And generally, metals should go up.
yeah.
But, you know, we live in some very strange correlations right now.
Right.
We're getting a bit of a move off that average session range low in platinum.
Mm,
But yeah, I don't really want to fight that. Let's see if we can get back up to maybe a little bit ambitiously to initial balance low or VWAP at 966.8 or so.
oh, well. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think that's a little bit
Yeah.
too
I mean,
far?
that's would be an excellent level to participate in. I mean, if it manages to get up
If it
there,
gets there.
I think yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I might be a little bit too ambitious there, looking for that,
Well, I
but
mean,
we'll see.
it's like anything else, right? I mean, you can participate in other areas, but then the thing is, then you have to deal with maybe a little bit of heat, right?
Yeah.
Because
So
so
maybe
yeah,
smaller
if you're
size
going to participate in the market, let it be in a location that
that you
you are
want.
confident about, right?
Yeah. Because you know, here's the thing with these levels, right? So we had this support. We had Asia low at 963.7. So that's the one that you were looking at, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, and then I have the initial balance jump off a cliff and VWAP. Now, platinum does like to go back to VWAP.
yeah,
So, you know, that would be, like you said, the most ideal area to get
Yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
There's just a question of whether they leave single prints behind as a kind of defensive area, to defend the sustained auction.
Hmm.
And yeah, but if we get up there, I'm going to put a little rectangle there to signify to myself that that's what I'm looking at. Let's see if we can get there.
Well,
And,
copper is stronger to the downside.
yeah, it is a bigger move. It is a bigger
Yeah.
move. Let me have a look at options in copper. What have we got? See, in copper, I've got 410 as a potential area.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think we still maybe have a ways to go. And platinum, we have that GEX1 level with the average session range low from London. So to me, that would be maybe a more secure area to look for a bounce. Even if we didn't have headline risk, I would definitely be trying along here. But with a headline risk, this could just carry on falling. So we don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, it seems like this is so far down the average daily ranges that it almost seems destined to hit that before it makes anything
Yeah,
significant to the upside, right? So
absolutely. Yeah, and copper still has a ways to go.
yeah.
So copper, I have average session range low, which I didn't get to pull into Topstep X just yet. So that's at 410.68.
Uh-huh.
And then average daily range low is at 408.70.
Yeah.
So still a little bit of room there.
Yeah.
It
But
just
that even seems to
exhausted
be
ASR.
even stronger than platinum to the downside right now. So.
Yeah. I'm just doubting the move down there because we have a neutral day type already in copper. And we have that rollover. So it's very, very tricky. So let me just pull these levels here. So value high, 416.75. See, this is something that I do manually every day, pulling my levels from the other platform into Topstep X.
Topstep X, yeah.
So I have fun in the morning.
Yeah.
But obviously I still have my charting on the other screen, which makes it a little bit easier because I don't have to calculate anything. And then let's turn this into ASR low. And that's just here. We just smack that to the downside. 410.75. Okay.
Yeah, again, this might be a little bit wishful, but I think if this could come back to IB low, I think this area right here is really ripe for short continuation trade.
Yeah, that's copper, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I think that's pretty significant pullback, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Might be a little bit more shallower.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I actually like that idea because if we take the stance that platinum has a one-sided jump, it just went down, straight down. But copper actually created a neutral day type before the jump. So this is where profile can give us detailed information that otherwise you wouldn't see. So for anyone looking at just pure price action, you would say, well, they both went down, right? Like there's no difference.
Yeah.
But there is a difference because copper is making a neutral day type, whereas platinum has a sustained auction. So which one will be better for that ping back to the mean? To me, it would be copper. So if I was going to long anything against this move, it would be copper because of that neutral day potential.
Right.
And then maybe another short the other side. So yeah, it's certainly very interesting there.
Yeah. So I mean, we got this little doji candle that's developing on this 30-minute.
Yeah.
We're seeing that on the 15 as well, almost like a 3-bar reversal pattern.
Yeah.
So.
And I'm going to go down to micros for this purpose because it is a little dangerous to be doing this.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try a trade. I'm going to go down to a 100-tick chart on copper just to see whether we have that movement. I'm going to flip to my screen.
Well, you're still not 100% aligned with that, but
Yeah. So we're still in the ribbon, right? I would like to see
Yeah.
a stronger push there before
Yeah.
I long it. And again, this is where these sort of techniques can give you the time when you're supposed to be going in.
Hmm.
So yeah, let's wait for that. And I want to see what Platinum is doing as well, because I think that one attempted to go high. Oh no, that one's also in the ribbon. Oh. You see?
Yeah.
Yeah, funny that. So this one is still, Platinum is still trying to decide
Hmm.
where it's going to go.
So your ribbon, the ribbon that you have on your chart, is that just multiple EMAs?
Yeah, it's just 3 9 EMAs, one on the high, close, and the low. Now, don't know whether you remember, but I used to use a small, just one single 9 EMA
Yeah.
as a timing tool for this purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would be looking for a 2 minute chart or any kind of 100 ticks or whatever people want to use to kind of smash through that and to
Mm.
close above it. So this is kind of similar. It gives you a bigger zone to work with. So
Yeah.
instead of looking for any old close above the middle 9 EMA, I want to see a committed move through the entire ribbon.
Gotcha. Yeah, like it's kind of similar kind of thing I do with my channels.
Yeah, it's
I'll
very
draw a
similar.
2 minute channel. I'll do it.
That's actually where I got it. Got the
Oh, okay.
idea from. But for some reason, for me, channels didn't work because I never know where to put them. I tried
Oh,
putting
okay.
them this way and that way,
Yeah.
and
So
then I'm
I
like,
have a 2 minute channel drawn on the copper right now.
yeah,
And like I said, what I would be waiting for is a close above it.
yeah,
So
yeah. So similarly, I'm looking for a full candle to close, especially for a reversal, because you need to see that good momentum, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Anything else is just suicide at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah, but if we take the same idea that your channels
Mm-hmm.
and my little ribbon,
Yes.
we need to see the move that goes outside of that, and then you have
Correct.
that reverse momentum.
Correct.
That's how you catch reversals. You don't
Yeah.
try and front run it from the low
No.
and then go smack, smack, smack.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, no.
like
No.
getting bitch slapped by the markets all the
Yeah.
time.
I'm trying to remember exactly how the channels came to be. It was kind of like a refinement because I was kind of struggling with the timing, like you were saying. I think I was trying to front load a move and find myself always coming in too early,
Yeah.
right? And then I'll have to either absorb a really nasty, drawdown, and in some cases I have to close out the trade, and then later come to realize I was right on the move. My timing was off.
Too
So
early, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because the levels that both Ray and myself use, they are based on actual statistical data. They're not, just random, lagging indicators all over the place. So because of that, they're pretty accurate and they have a high degree of probability of working out. But you still need timing because you don't know whether it's going to overshoot it by 30, 100 ticks, 50 ticks, 25. And
right.
that the times when it overshoots it by a little bit, it's perfect. But that's not going to happen most days, right?
Yeah,
So we really need a better way of doing it. And I think either channels, or so race channels, or the ribbon, it serves exactly the same purpose. And I think
right.
that's very interesting to see that, two traders, similar outlook.
Similar refinement.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you need that. You need to figure out a systematic way of how to enter a trade rather than just, plowing in and hoping for the best or relying on 15-minute and 30-minute candles, which is fine when you're beginning, when you want to not get chopped up and you really want to see like a zone reacting. But as you grow as a trader, you find that you can see these opportunities come up earlier. And this is a great way to have that. I call them timing tools, to have the timing tool that's going to tell you when the momentum to the opposite side is actually happening. And, people say that I'm very good at catching tops and bottoms, but that's not quite true because I'm not necessarily using a crystal ball and going, yes, it's going now. I'm just using this sort of timing tool, channel or ribbon. I prefer ribbon. Different folks, different strokes.
Yes.
And it works, right? Because you wait until that committed reversal, committed push away
Correct.
from the level. And then if it starts to consolidate, it's still going to be just flat, right? So you're not going to get that extra move up outside of the entire structure, which is what we want to see. And presumably, Ray, that's the same thing you want to see.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if I have, again, that's kind of where I use the secondary indicators along with it, right? So that's where the volume delta, if I can get that move and I can get a spike, something like this, right? That also gives me a confidence as well.
Yeah. I do look at volume, but more through Bookmap than
Oh,
through
okay.
anything else. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
can see them plowing in with like big bubbles and stuff. So
right.
that does help. So I do watch. I suppose they call it watching the tape, whatever. I always thought that that's such a vague term. It's like, oh yeah, we're watching the tape. It's like, what are
Yeah,
you watching for?
yeah,
Can you
exactly.
explain? And very
Exactly.
few of them can actually explain to you what they want to see. And I
Right.
think Bookmap has definitely gotten to a point where it demystifies some of that. It's like, well, what are you looking for? I'm looking for big bubbles.
Yes.
That's what we
Yeah.
want to
Oh,
see.
and well, Bookmap I've never really, but watching the tape, watching the DOM, just was not for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I had to come up with something else that was a little bit more conducive to my mindset, I guess.
Yeah.
I think you've talked about that recently. I think you were talking about with respect to instruments, right? If you're having trouble trading something like the NQ, find an instrument that resonates with your mindset, like a platinum or something along those lines, right? So
Yeah.
moves a slower mover type of
Slower.
thing.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean, people underestimate the effect of the emotions that the emotions
yeah,
have on us. And I think it's not talked about enough because, there's a lot of men in this industry, and traditionally I've spoken about that. Men don't like to deal with emotions because that's just the
no,
societal norms. It's how it is. It's like me,
exactly,
emotional, no. But
exactly.
on the
That's kind of sign of
inside,
weakness, I guess, to
yeah,
some degree.
side of
Yeah,
weakness, yeah. But
yeah.
with the markets, like if you look at some of the traders, even on Topstep TV, you look at Hogue. He's
Hmm.
probably one of the most emotionally attuned person that I've met.
Hmm.
Like, he's got this exterior and the
Yeah,
voice
yeah,
and everything,
yeah.
But
Rough.
when you get to know him, he's like such a
He's like
sweet
a teddy bear.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. And he's so kind and
Yes,
gentle and very
yes,
attuned to his own emotions. And
yes.
when I first got to know him, I was like, wow, you're totally like not what I what I expected.
That's
Because I met him.
when you look, right?
Yeah,
So,
and I expected him to, I met him as he was my risk manager, right? And
oh, okay.
and we would be in they used to have this private chat room. I don't know whether you remember. Actually, I don't
Mm-mm.
know whether they still had
It's
it.
before my time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so they had a chat room for the funded traders where
Hmm.
Hogue and other risk managers had voice. Like they had
Mm.
audio. So if
Hmm.
somebody would be going crazy, you would suddenly hear Hogue going, "Slow down."
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And you'd be like, whoa, okay.
yeah.
And then we started kind of chatting and getting to know each other. And I'm like, wow,
Mhm.
you're not scary at all. That's nice.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Well, it looks like, I mean, I would be almost tempted here if we can get
Yeah,
that
same,
close above.
same.
So,
Yeah, I'm just going to make sure I'm on a micro because I have a full contract and then and then
yeah,
five. That would be fun. Like
yeah.
lose an
Kind of,
XFA in a blink of an
I'm
eye.
loading this up on my, uh, one of my Express accounts that I have
Yeah,
through Topstep.
same. Yeah.
So on the left, that's kind of what I was playing around with earlier that was causing me all the grief.
Ah, see, yeah. It's so does it work? Like, can you bring? Oh, yeah, of course you can. So, do you
Yeah.
connect your XFA to TradingView?
No, well, Topstep X, I don't think has that kind of connectivity.
Ah,
Um, so I have an XFA that's through Tradeovate, but then I have some other combines that I'm working through Topstep X. So I'm always kind of challenged. Well, which platform should I be looking at? And,
yeah. I
so
designate different times of day for that. So I
yeah,
usually have 2 or 3 on Topstep X, and then
yeah,
a couple always in Ninja
yeah.
because I
I've,
have
I've been
better
exper
risk tools there.
Yeah, I've been experimenting with some other types of trading. Kind of placing trades overnight and waking up in the morning type of thing. Um, Especially if they get to some sort of extreme level where I think that maybe it could reverse.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of experimenting with that a little bit to kind of hold it on to trades while I'm not even in front of the platform and seeing if I wake up. pleasantly surprised. So
Yeah, that's how I started. So
yeah,
I still do some swing trades, but they are very much data driven. They're not necessarily me making a decision. So we
right.
have some algorithms that measure a whole bunch of stuff, and then they go, right, it's time for a swing,
Yeah,
and that's kind of less stressful for me because I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
have to be the one making a decision.
yeah.
But otherwise, I remember trying to still be a swing trader and an intraday trader, so I wasn't sleeping, and
Right.
this was a long time ago when I was still learning how to do intraday trading, and I was super stressed out because I'm struggling. I'm learning a new skill. It's very tough, and
Yeah.
then you have one eye open for your swing trades.
Right. Right.
It's no good.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I found in my journey is, I think everybody starts off, I think to some degree, as kind of like a scalper, right? And then you learn over time that you don't need to take 75 or 80 trades
Yeah,
a session, right?
yeah, yeah,
That if you can, in order to really trade well, you need to trade less,
yeah. So
right?
one of the things in series three is that they had this question about churning, and they had a question about what would be the most likely cause of losses
Hmm.
in accounts that are by retail investors, so basically discretionary accounts.
Yeah,
And one of the correct answer was just overtrading due to
overtrading. Yeah,
inexperience. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And it's very interesting because it's like they assume that will be the case because
Right,
uneducated people who are not experienced, I wouldn't say uneducated, I mean trading wise, not
right, right,
educated,
right,
right?
right.
Who don't have, like, you have some very, very intelligent people with loads of degrees
Yeah,
and they
yeah, yeah.
still struggle, right? So it's not an
Correct.
intelligence thing. I think
No.
it comes down to emotionality.
Yeah,
And it's interesting that even they, as a regulatory body, they recognize that the cause of overtrading is always inexperience. Now, of course, you have
yeah,
market makers, right? They're professional market makers. You
yeah.
have people who have made an absolute killing like that. Some of the richest people, like Nassim Taleb,
Right,
he's a market maker.
right.
Sells on the offer, buys on the bid, and all that. Makes
Yeah,
some money in the process for himself and for the clients.
yeah,
And that's it. And he's made billions from it. But there's
yeah.
not a lot of people who can do that, right?
Right. And I think when it comes down to at the end of the day is you have to trade to your mind, right? What your
Yeah.
mind will support, right?
Yeah.
So I can't trade like D, D can't trade like me, I can't trade like
No.
O,
No.
that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
trying to, I think is a bit futile,
Absolutely. You
right?
have to find, like, whoever's methodology you're using, you still have to find yourself in there.
Correct,
It's
correct.
not enough to just go, oh, Dee has given me all these great levels. I'm just going to do what
Yeah,
she does. Well, no,
yeah,
because as you've seen, like Ray and I trade similar levels, but
yeah,
we have very, very maybe similar outlook, but different
yeah,
objectives. You might
correct,
manage your trade completely differently. To
correct.
me, you find your own style within whatever you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Levels are
And
useful.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, you improve your odds so dramatically by just picking good location, right?
yeah,
That's like
yeah,
half the battle, right?
absolutely.
And then after that is really, how well you time it, and then how well you manage it. I
Yeah,
think are the three. So
absolutely.
yeah,
We have some questions here. So it says, AW says, hey D, is this relevant today? The US Department of Justice has demanded Google sells off Chrome, the world's most popular web browser.
oh wow,
Yeah, what would Department of Justice have to do with it? Like, if they haven't done anything wrong, why would why
yeah.
would
Maybe they
Department of
feel like I guess with the advent of AI and other things that they're developing,
yeah?
they are
But it's
asking them
still their
to.
invention. You can't just be meddling
Yeah,
in
I just
things
they
like
don't. I
that.
guess they don't want one company to control so much.
I suppose cornering the market and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
maybe.
Microsoft is kind of facing those kinds of challenges as well at one
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
So
I mean, it could play into it. It could
yeah.
play into it. I haven't looked at equities today. Well, I looked at DAX, but nothing. Oh, damn it! I missed it. I was
Hmm.
stalking the failed auction long in DAX.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's gone
Any
away.
word on when? Maybe we should. That's maybe a touchy topic. Topstep is going to add
No,
DAX
they've
as their.
moved it to February, the end of February now. So yeah,
Okay.
actually, that reminds me. Let's plop in my daily plug to get Eurex into Topstep.
Mm.
Please, guys, upvote the link that I just posted. So, they keep pushing it. So at this point, I've kind of lost all hope that we're ever going to get it. And it's such a shame because, I've shown my results and stuff by hour of day, and DAX is included in that. And it was like a huge spike around the time of day when I trade DAX in positive, P&L. And we don't have that. So I kind of feel like I'm missing a limb. Almost. Yeah.
You're tried and true instrument.
Yeah, for London, for sure. I have plenty of options for the US, but obviously I'm running these sessions and I'm like, well, I need Eurex. And I know they're trying, bless them, they are trying, but they've been struggling a lot with it. Yeah. Okay, let's have a look at more questions here. Could you please show the settings for the ribbon? Yes, of course I can. So let's go here. Let's make that bigger while we wait for setups. Whoops, I just moved that to a stupid level. So I have 3 EMAs. Now this is a bit messy because I was just adding it willy-nilly because I did a new chart and then I realized some of my things are missing. But basically, I have 9 EMA. So this one is on the close. That's the middle one. So smoothing line is EMA, right? Period of 9. And then the same thing with the only difference that the source is going to be high. So the high of the candle. And then this one starts the calculation on the low of the candle. And that creates the ribbon that never crosses over, right? So it's a very different thing from, let's say, VWAP or regular MA because it's faster. And I want them to never cross over. I want them to act as a ribbon. So hopefully that helps you. Again, don't immediately copy everything that you see here. If you see something that's of interest to you and you say, I would like to try this, just test it out in a safe environment. Get a practice account, work with it for a while, and please just be very aware that neither Ray nor myself, we don't use these low time frame channels as a singular thing. We look at larger time frames. We look at, very specific areas that are statistically proven to both of us through forward testing and back testing and a whole bunch of other things. So you have to have decent levels, right? On Platinum, we are waiting for this VWAP and potentially IB low area, but it might be reacting to this support as well because that was a strong move down.
Yeah.
So for now, I don't want to do anything with it. Platinum is all very well, but copper is slowed down now.
Yeah, it has quite a bit.
Yeah. This is where the rollover effect is very annoying. So yeah, for now, no trade for me. All right, let's have a look at more questions. Dee, how many GEX levels do you go for me? Okay, so GEX levels are secondary levels, right? They are much weaker than, let's say, calls and puts, right? Where the most calls and most puts are located. And then secondary to that, we have the high volume levels where you can get that gamma flip as well. But when there's nothing else and we are sort of sitting in an area where there's a ton of GEX levels, to me that usually spells chop. So I would say I would only pay attention to GEX 1 and 2. And everything else, I almost don't even want to know about it. I will take my trade locations on those kind of days from the profile, from the initial balance, or, directly from the day type that we have, if it's a neutral day, value areas, all of that good stuff. So anything that's in the pro development program that I teach, time of day, average session, average daily ranges, some of it very specific, in regards to what time of day needs to be for those setups to happen. And then if we happen to have a random GEX level around there, all the better. But they're not the core setups that I'm I'm looking at GEX levels for my setups. No. So it's a secondary thing for the way I trade. So it's we have already a level from the way I've traded for 12 years, and then you add on to that. And that's something I've been doing for a long time. On crude oil specifically, I used to do it with Canadian dollar options. And now we have outright options in some of these products, which have brought in a lot of volume in general. So just wanted to make that like 100% clear.
Yeah.
What did you use to study Series 3? Yeah, okay, so I started off buying the guidebook from the Securities of America, and then I started going through their question bank. But I found that their questions were A, very repetitive, and B, they kind of didn't really include the questions that I then heard from others that are going to be on the test, like things like LIBOR and Eurodollar questions, and so some of the lumber questions as well. Luckily, I didn't get any lumber questions. I got a lot of copper and crude oil questions, which I was actually really pleased about because it's like I know those products very well. But yeah, I just felt like the Securities of America question bank wasn't good enough. So I actually bought the Kaplan question bank too. And I practiced both of those. I first practiced it in chunks. So I would go section by section. I started with the weakest parts that I was kind of struggling with. And then eventually in the last week, I was just drilling 125 questions twice a day with like quite some space in between for the final week. And, I passed it in one go. But, it is a challenging question, especially when they try and trick you. And there's a lot of that. It's like, the distant month is trading at a premium to the current month. And then given this hedger who did this and that, what would be his outcome at the end? What is the outcome of the hedge or outcome of the effective price? Now, you have to be very careful with the wording. Outcome of the hedge itself, whether they say net or just the futures trades, is so important. Because if they say, what was the outcome of the futures? They're not asking you to do the full-on basis calculation between the cash futures, right? All they want to know is what the outcome of his futures trades are. And then when it doesn't say that, and it says, what is the effective price? Or whatever, it's like you have to know that you do need to deal with the basis calculation. So you calculate the basis at T1, when he kind of went long or short, and basis at T2, find the difference, and then depending on what the question is asking, you might have to apply that either to the end price or to the beginning price, depends on what they were doing. So, very tricky, it wasn't easy at all. But once you understand the logic behind it, I think it becomes a little bit easier. Personally, for me, the math side was the easier part. And this is coming from someone who sucks at math, right? Math is not naturally a good thing for me, although arithmetic is something I am pretty strong at. However, at school, math was my weakest
Really?
subject. Yeah, believe it or not, I sucked at math, man. I nearly failed a year because of it. And then somehow managed to muddle through and still end up like, I think I was still a B on that year. But I already did music and, wasn't really interested in school that much. So with Series 3, it's just all the regulations that are a pain. Questions like, how many days does a CTA have from discovery of a mistake in the disclosure document? And then they will give you 30 days, 15 days, 21 days, or I don't know, a year. And I'm like, if you don't know it's 21 days, you're screwed.
Pretty much.
Now, Ray, you're a teacher, so do you have any advice for people who might want to take the Series 3 test? Like, is there any tricks to the way questions are?
I know that Kaplan actually goes through a process where they actually teach it, where you can, if you have a multiple choice question, well, you have 25% of getting that correct, right? And if you can outright eliminate an answer, that improves your odds by, a certain percentage, right? So there's a lot of techniques like that as far as kind of like test taking techniques that you can use to kind of, if you don't know the answer, but at least eliminate one or two of the answers, you can improve your odds of getting the correct answer dramatically. So there's some things like that I guess not. I don't necessarily teach those kind of things.
Yeah,
but,
of course not. Yeah,
but I think for myself,
I'm asking more for the test taking skills. I know
So,
there's
definitely test taking techniques, and then the one I just mentioned, I think is a very popular one. Right, is you have a multiple choice question, you can just
Yeah.
outright eliminate a question. Then you just obviously improve your odds by focusing on the other three. So
Yeah, interesting you say that. There was one question that completely stumped me. It was relating to the T-bond options, and that's my weak point. Like, I'm not really good at fixed income anyway, and I sort of understood most of the equations and stuff. However, sometimes when there's like options and premiums and intrinsic value, you have to
yeah,
calculate it. The intrinsic value, like a part of it, is actually just outright dividing it by 32, right? Because it's the futures price. But then with the premium, when you're subtracting things, you have to take in the options premium and then do the 64 because they're quoted in 64s, the options premiums on T-bonds. And it's just like, I don't know whether it was like pressure of the test or whatever, but they gave us 9016. 9023. Like, there was no chance. My
yeah,
brain
yeah,
just kind of locked up. And
yeah,
I was like, I have no idea. Like, this is just, I'm just going to lose so much time on this. There is no
correct.
point in me answering this or anything. So I just guessed. There was
Yeah,
one
yeah,
question where I just
yeah,
didn't want to waste any time. And I'm like, I don't know this. Let's move on. Click,
right.
done. Only one question that I wasn't sure about.
Oh, okay, not bad.
Yeah. Right, so they are kind of grinding here, aren't they? Christ, man. Come on, we want to do a trade.
Yeah, yeah. All of a sudden, all this movement, and now nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's this is what happens with London. It has
yeah,
these like shakeout moves on some days and then it
hmm
grinds to a halt. So what I like to do, because obviously I'm not that functional in the morning, I like to wait until sort of closer to the overlap. So like an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours into London, I will get the very good setup. And that's
yeah,
when I pounce. Anything
yeah,
before then, I almost look at it as scalper territory. Because it's
yeah,
like, it's down, it's up, it's down, it's up.
yeah.
Like, where are we going?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something to time, right?
Yeah,
You talk about that quite a bit in your course,
yeah,
right? Uh,
yeah,
as time as a level.
yeah,
So there is a lot to that, right? And in avoiding those times, and and every instrument has a certain kind of window where it moves, right?
yeah.
And it's
Or
your
when it
job.
reverses. When it
Yeah,
reverses,
or
to me, it's a lot more important. Yeah,
so as it's your job as a risk manager, I think of us as risk managers when we trade, right?
yeah,
To know when that happens and be in a position to, I guess, be present for that party, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look at more questions. We've done that one. Cedric says, how long does it take to find your own style? I'm trading futures since
wow,
1 year and I'm still working on it. Yeah, that's very new. So you see, I went from swing trading, which is a completely different style, into intraday, and then I probably took another 2 years before I found myself inside the profile and everything else. I kept like adding things to it because I felt profile is amazing, like it's an amazing tool, but I still felt like it kind of missed some stuff that I knew from swing
right,
trading, like timing of swing trades. If you enter a swing trade during London, you're probably going to experience a very deep drawdown because New York tends to reverse everything. And they
right,
never talked about that. So I was like, interesting. So I started adding things. That's how my methodology came about because I wasn't happy with what was being presented to me. And then obviously the average daily ranges. That was one
yeah,
thing that I learned from a colleague. But then I thought to myself, well, now we have a day where the average range is completely smashed. Now what do I do? Like, there
right,
must be a way to figure out another measure, another data point. And then it occurred to me, well, if we use regular trading hours for the profile, why don't I try using the regular trading hours for the average session range rather than the entire
right,
24 days? So I started
right,
tracking that in a lovely Excel spreadsheet.
yeah,
And eventually, after about 3 months, I was like, okay, this works. And in
yeah,
fact, it probably works even when you don't reach the ADR, but you have the ASR instead.
right,
And you have one session that is maybe slightly smaller than the other one. Well, how likely is it that London is going to reach the full ADR during during the London session when it's not the main session for the instrument. It doesn't make sense, right? So why not take just the London session and see whether it reverses around those? And lo and behold, it did. So that's, that's another thing that I added. And eventually, time of day obviously has always been a component in my trading. But then I realized that nobody's teaching that either. So I'm like, why are we not talking about this? Like time of day. And yet all pro traders, we all know these times of day. And I'll tell you why. Because I always used to trade ES towards the last sort of 90 minutes and, power hour territory, basically.
Right.
Because I noticed that the reversals happen. You have, long squeezes, short squeezes. That's the time of day when they happen. Mm-hmm. And we had somebody who was struggling with ES. And then the risk manager said, why don't you just wait for like the last hour and then try that? And I was like, you're not telling this to anybody. Right. What are we keeping a secret? Like what's going on there? It's like you only divulge the secret when somebody's struggling and losing your money. It's like, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like anything else. I mean, in any profession, any career, you don't become a professional in anything in a day or a week or 2 weeks, right? So, and you talk about this as well, Dee. I think if you're looking to become professional at that task, it's going to take some time. There's no way around it. There's ways that you can maybe help accelerate that. Working with mentors or things of that nature. But the journey is the journey, right? Yeah. And everybody has to go through that journey to get to the level that you need to be functional in the trading. So
yeah. I'm gonna try a platinum short.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's turning around from So I think that might have more merit, and I'm only gonna do one. And I'm gonna put my standard 35 ticks, which is kind of right at the top there, so that's okay. I'm willing to eat that up if I'm wrong, because this is a directional move, so we can, we can get out if need be. But basically, let me just see where the ADR is. 965. Okay. Is that right? No, 955 D. You need to read. So this is a directional move from that support area that Ray was doing. So I'm effectively following Ray's level here, because we never got up to VWAP. We started turning around, and now I'm seeing huge weakness both in copper and this one.
I did an anchored VWAP at the start of London that it's kind of reversing away from.
Okay, nice.
So at the start of London, I set a anchored VWAP. That's that baby blue line that I have on my chart. Mm-hmm. And look how well it reacted away from it.
Yeah, anchored VWAPs are great. I've started to incorporate them more since both you and Coach Jay talk about them, and I started tracking them. In situations when you have a breakout, sort of sustained auction, very useful, because it can give you like another reference level that makes sense, right? It's like, okay, it's from the open, and we've smashed down. You get there, look for weakness like this one, and then you just, you sit and wait. So if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. It's fine. But
at least you have a reference level that you can at least, work a stop around, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not any random place. So
right, so let's see how the platinum trade works out. But I'm using smaller size because it is a trade where it's a breakout, looking for a directional move. Time of day might be a little bit tricky, but we have some odd things happening with a lot more movement. So it's got a good chance. I will be looking for a full move down to ADR if we get that push.
Yeah.
But obviously, if it starts to mess around 50 ticks or so, I'm kind of happy to take that as well. So. Small size, one platinum is $5, so I am risking $175 on this, with a view to only make a little base hit of 350. But when you look at the number of ticks, it's not a base hit; it would be like a full-on trade. Right. So it's just because the time of day is a little bit wrong. So we're gonna take it slow on a Thursday. Cedric, to finish up your question, I mean, it really varies, right? And it also depends on your background. Some people have transferable skills like great memory. Typically, doctors have amazing memory, so they can kind of memorize a lot more data and information that's not as scary to them. Similarly, engineers. Ray, you were in IT before
Yes.
you
Yes.
got into trading. That
Yes.
obviously helps massively. But you're almost always looking at a development time of about 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
In fact, 5 years seems to be the median average from what I've
Mm.
seen.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. I would say a good 3 years before I, felt like I had a confident,
Yeah,
process, and I was actually getting some returns.
yeah. And that's with transferable skills, so
That's with transfer
yeah,
skills, like you said.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
And
swing
with
trading
and
was,
with mentoring and with mentoring. So
yeah, yeah. Well, that does help. I mean, I've had a couple of mentors, 2 or 3. Hogue is one of them, definitely. But I
mhm.
also had another one in an intraday firm that I went for an apprenticeship with, and I mean, he wasn't like a real mentor. He was like more a senior trader who was very happy to help, which is
Right.
how most of us get into the mentoring space, really.
Right.
And he was just very kind to show me the ropes and to show me some of his ways of entering trades,
Mm,
exiting trades, what he uses, and it was very useful, especially for
mm,
like positioning and stuff.
mhm.
It's a very slightly different game when you have to like enter into multiple contracts. So I was always kind of all in, all out,
Right.
and I would kind of try and do that on larger size. And he was like, well, yeah, maybe try this. So
Mhm.
he was the one who taught me to use maximum adverse excursion as a potential point where you would scale into a trade, like a DCA sort of story. And then, to find a way when it moves into your profits to maybe add another lot of trades. So
Right.
that was very helpful for me. And
Right.
just, little things like that.
Mm.
But yeah, you're probably looking at 3 to 5 years, Cedric. So
Yeah.
I
I think
would I
that's a
would
good
say, yeah.
recommendation.
Joe says, thanks for explaining the ribbon. Based on the ribbon, what is the decision point for entering the trade? Otherwise, how do you make use of ribbons? So, Ray, do you want to explain it? Because it's like the channel thing, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's kind of like I need to see a break of some sort of, so if I'm looking for a short trade, right? Well, I want to see some sort of price event that is aligned with the move, right? And we can, some could argue, well, I want to see a new low. So what I do is I draw this kind of channel. If I'm in this channel, if they're truly going to be bullish on this move, you wouldn't see price close below it, right? So I basically look for a price event that's aligned with my move, and I use channels to support that. Another thing that I've kind of, obviously as part of my checklist, I want to see a new low. It's not just break the channel. I want to see price eventually make a new low, because otherwise I'm running the risk of it reversing on me, right?
Yeah,
That
so
I
it's not
that I don't
breaking the
want to see.
structure. So you want it to
Yeah, I
break
want
the
to see it.
structure eventually. Yeah.
Correct, correct. So
So
if I
would
choose
you
like,
so I have a question for you. Would you, for example, we're breaking out of the channel now.
yeah,
Where would your actual entry point be for a directional trade? Because I actually like to look, if it's a directional move, I like to look for weakness, sort of, let me just flip to my screen for
yeah.
a second.
Ideally, if you're
Yeah,
given this, if it's
yeah,
not a fast mover, ideally you want it to fail right up against the channel,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
You want to see an attempt, and this is ideal. This is the ideal case, right? If you see some sort of rejection, right, an attempt to come back and it gets rejected, you see some sort of reverse hammer candle right at
And that it
it's this area.
migrates back into the channel, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
correct, right? So if you see some candle move that goes into the channel but just gets smashed, right? That's a good area to get in, right?
Yeah.
Again,
So
it's
I'm a
kind of like
little bit
a
more
mini a
aggressive, I
mini
think.
retracement. Sorry.
I'm a little bit more aggressive, I think, because,
Yeah.
for example, I was looking for either a test of your support in platinum
Yeah.
or a full rise up to VWAP. But as
Right.
you said, we had another data point there from the anchored VWAP from London High.
Yeah.
So what I was looking for was for a fake out attempt higher and then weakness, which is why
Yeah.
I'm in this. So effectively, it turned around and it started to close one of the candles inside the ribbon, but also slightly below that 9 EMA. And because I'm looking for a directional move, I was happy to take this early, right? So I'm not looking for a full-on move down, which is where I differ from Ray.
Yeah.
So I'm a lot more aggressive in the stance that I want to see. And you know, that for me, an entry into a directional move. So again, we have to define what sort of setup we're doing. And for a directional move, you are happy to take a slightly worse trade location because you expect the momentum to keep pushing it, right?
Correct.
So it doesn't really, for me, waiting for a complete bust of the low, I already want to be in on that rather than, So it's like, again, slightly different styles. So you can use the ribbon however you want to use it, however you feel helps you the most. And I can't do that for you. You have to just test what works. Ray told you the way he does it. I told you the way I does it. Try both, you know, and see what works for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, you might even come up with something that's unique to you, right?
Exactly.
Whatever, right? So you need to explore a variety of ways of doing it, and then whatever allows you to execute objectively is the one that you know. So the channel just made it a black and white decision for me, right?
Yeah.
There's no discretion. I need to go through my mind and say, or filter through my mind to say, okay, it's time. No, I see it, right? So
So you have the direction of the trade. You know what needs to happen. You know what you need to see. And then once you see it, you jump in, right? So you systematically decide what is your entry point.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I mean, that happens in trading, right? It's part of the territory. But at least I'm consistently executing the trade in the same way, right? Because otherwise, then what do you fix? You don't know what to fix.
So Paul H says copper right now is below yesterday's value. Yesterday's volume interest low. I don't really know what volume interest low is. And POC value area low. Is that what you were saying? You were saying something about your typing skills here as well. So so basically, if you're asking about the value area low, it may not recover. It depends on headline risk. It depends on how we behave. Right now, we're just static. So if I flip to my screen, it's not really doing much, right? So it's just moving in a little range from the average session range low. So until they decide to break that one way or another, I don't have a setup on copper. We were looking for a move away from this area initially. We didn't get it. So no trade in copper, right? And I didn't have a level for short. I think it's too low. And if I'm going to short it, I would like to see it again higher up.
You want to sell weak, sell straight.
And then it just died. So platinum for now looks much better. So if I flip onto the slightly bigger time frame, this is also kind of distributing, right? But it tried to go higher already and failed. So that's where I think those two are quite different. And this is why I think we have a chance to get all the way down to ADR low.
Yeah, is that rectangle that you have there yellow? Is that manually drawn?
Yes, it's manually drawn. Yeah, it was just me to delineate the overnight VWAP area that we may get to. There was also a initial bounce low.
Spot on, right?
I mean, it turned away at the support. Really, it turned away here.
Right.
And at your London anchored VWAP, which we can show.
Yeah.
So let's see.
I did an anchored VWAP at the top at the start of London. That also helped.
So London, there it is. Like that. And I'm going to change this to high. Too high? Or is it...
Well, no, I have to look and see what I'm setting here.
I know, it's open, high, low, close. So it's the standard. And that is pretty revealing. So now I'm going to drop down to 100 ticks, and you guys will see what's happening there. I mean, look at that. This thin line here. Let's make it bigger.
Spot on.
Make it a lot bigger. There it is. Look at that. Smack, turn it around, and we just need another push down. So we'll see. What time frame do you use for channels, Ray?
Well, I use them on all channel. I mean, all time frames, mainly the lower ones, but 15 and a 2. 15 is my signal candle, and then the 2 minute is my trigger, right? So
Right.
I'll wait for my 15 minutes to tell me it's time, and then I'll do one last, 2 minute channel for my trigger.
Yeah.
So kind of two levels of certainty. Because sometimes what happens, and in my experience, is I'll get a 15-minute candle that looks great to go in on, only to have it reverse on you.
Yeah.
So, right. So what I say, okay, well, I need one. I got my signal. Now I'm kind of trying to improve on my timing. So I create a channel. It might be working against my direction of my move, but that little extra time lines up my timing because I've already got the event that I'm looking for. Now it's just a matter of timing correctly into the trade. So
Yeah.
the 2 minute channel, I kind of bookend it right on the entry and the exit. So I talked about the tip the doorman concept, right? So I enter the trade on a 2 minute, manage it on a 15. Then once I get within 10% of my target, I start managing it on the 2 minute again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and similarly for trade management, like for me now, if we go all the way back up to this anchored VWAP and support, and then no reaction happens, that would be an early exit for me. Because
right,
we would be above the ribbon again, and we're not right now, right? So if you
right,
look at it, at its where it is now, it's just meandering, not really doing anything. But if we push higher, that would be an exit for me.
yeah,
Until such time, you stay in. There's nothing for me to do here. So people freak out whenever something draws down a little bit against them, and they
yeah,
immediately close it. And that's like paper cut number one. Great.
yeah, yeah,
And then they do again, paper cut number two. And that's because you don't have a systematic way of entering and exiting.
right,
Now, once the trade is in, if you get stopped out like immediately, you're either using a super tiny stop loss
yeah,
or you're completely wrong, right?
yeah,
Like your trade should be able to withstand some drawdown and stay in for at least 10 minutes or so without getting stopped out immediately. And from there on out, it's just about managing the trade, right? So if you don't get what you need or what you want to see, you still have to have the same sort of systematic ways of entering and exiting. So for me, like I
right,
said, until we're pushing above the ribbon and again into this overnight, sorry, it's not overnight VWAP, it's the anchored VWAP from the London high,
yeah,
London open. There's nothing for me to do. Like pause off, breathe through it if you need to. If you feel you're too emotional, you're in with too much size. So size down, and you'll be able to manage your position a lot easier. Because to
yeah,
me, I don't care if I lose $170 here. I really
right,
don't. It's
right,
still my 35 ticks. That is according to my plan.
right,
It's not going to derail anything in any shape or form. It's appropriate for this time of day, appropriate for the directional move that already had some sort of a bounce from ASR low, but at the same time, I don't want to fight the trend, right? So I'm
right,
not going to be picking bottoms and stuff. So I'm going with the directional move. I'm absolutely 100% comfortable with what's going on here, right? And if I do manage to get the move down, all the better. Again,
yeah,
nothing for me to do, just observe, see how the ribbon is behaving. Are we below it? Are we sort of struggling through it, but we're still largely maintaining a downward slope? That's very
yeah.
useful for how your
And
trade is
honestly,
doing.
honestly, if you can't walk away from the trade, I mean, walk away meaning like leave your platform and do something, then you're
Yeah,
probably trading too much size, right?
that's a great tip, Ray. I like
Right.
that a lot. If you can't walk away from a trade, you're into with too much size.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're like glued into the screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If
Yeah,
you're every little move and then you're just kind of building up emotion to say, oh, I just can't handle this anymore. I'm just going
yeah,
to exit, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly. It builds and builds and builds, and the
feels as well, I
stress and
can't do
everything.
this. Just make the pain stop, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's great. I love that. That's probably the best tip that I've heard in a long while.
oh,
Yeah.
really?
If you
Wow.
can't walk away from a trade, you're in with too much size. That's
Yes.
brilliant. All right,
I'm gonna
let's end it on that note. So I like that. We've come
yeah.
well, we've gone a little bit over, so we're going to let
Yeah.
Ray go to sleep. Ray, thank you
Yes.
so much. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah, no
valuable as
problem. Thanks for
always.
having me. Mhm.
Yeah. Any parting words and into the
Yeah,
Thanksgiving
no, I
week and
don't
all
think I
that?
can top the tip, right? If you're trading, if you can't walk away from the trade, you're trading with too much size. I think
Yeah.
that's a good
Excellent.
closing comment.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. So that's going to be it for today. I don't think I missed anything. We still have. Oh, no, I did. So I'm just going to do one plug. So we have another set of entries into Topstep VIP. So all this week, they will be dropping VIP scouting check ins during the show. Obviously, Coach Ray has his own team.
Mhm.
Is it the Mindset Hunters still?
Yes,
Yeah.
mindset 100.
Yeah.
That is it. Mhm.
Excellent. So, if you want to be a part of some of the new teams that are going to be coming in January, keep your eyes peeled on the main broadcast. That's when it's going to be dropping. And also on Friday, so tomorrow, top 25 winners of Top Quiz will also get an entry. Top Quiz is back. People are excited. And instead of free resets, we're doing free VIPs. So, that's amazing. What do you get as a Topstep VIP? You get 3 months in the Trading Combine. You get 2 free resets. If you want free resets, go for the VIP, obviously. That's the only way to get them now.
Yeah.
So 2 free resets per month, access to an exclusive Discord channel, and events with your coach and team, and no activation fee. We will absorb the fee for
Wow.
you. So it's absolutely amazing package, much better than just some random free reset, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's so much value for the community, and it's very exciting that Topstep is changing the way people are looking at mentorships, coaching, and just providing a whole bunch of it as a group coaching session for free. Mind blowing, right?
Mhm.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Click the like, click subscribe, give Ray and myself some love, and we're gonna leave you to enjoy the rest of the broadcast. This has been Topstep TV. This is Coach Ray. I'm Deeyana Angelo, and we will see you next week. Take care.